Is this book really so holy, and what's so special about it? That we recommend it for every housewife, every mother to have at home. The book of Zohar is a very special book. The truth, maybe it's good to have it in every house, because maybe by that people will somehow, at least externally, come closer to it. And later on, maybe they'll be able to hear, because they won't throw away the book. It's a special book, holy book. They're afraid. And then maybe here and there they'll hear about how to read it, how to use the book of Zohar. First of all, I want to say that in order to bring a housewife like yourself to be in contact with the book of Zohar, we rewrote the book of Zohar, and it's called Zohar La'am, Zohar for all, where we actually took the entire book, all of those volumes that you have there, and still we got out of it 12 volumes, but it's written in a way and in a language that anyone can read, without any such additions that a person off the street has no idea what they are. And we also have that book on the internet. You can look through it as an ebook, you can buy it. It's a book of Zohar that is intended for the people, for the masses. What is the book of Zohar? Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon, after the destruction of the temple, he was a great sage, a Tana, and he was already on the level of recognition of the inner system, the positive higher force, which is meant to balance the negative force. He knew it, he acknowledged it. He was among 5 students that Rabbi Akiva brought together in order to teach them and pass the Torah on to them, because Rabbi Akiva, he taught 24,000 students, but they all died in a plague because they fell from the good, balanced desire, balance between the good and evil force, into the bad, egoistic force like all the people in our world, and even lower, because the higher you are, the lower you fall when you fall. And he was left without any students, but still he understood that he has to pass his method on to the next generation. And then he found 5 special, already wise disciples. He connected them and taught them all that he knew, understood, and could pass on. And Rabbi Shimon was one of these 5 students. And according to the root of his soul, he understood Rabbi Akiva in the concealed form, meaning everything that has to do with the depth of nature, which is not evident to the eye. And so are the others, but each one of them in a different aspect, like people in our world. It's not that there was a dispute between the 5 students of Rabbi Akiva, but each one of them could commentate, interpret what he heard from Rabbi Akiva in a different style, in a different language. So one of them did it in the language of the Midrash, one of them in the language of Kabbalah, one of them in the language of the Tanakh, and so on. And therefore, Rabbi Shimon, after Rabbi Akiva passed away, and really there were very bad states and situations in Israel with the Romans and everything, and the people of Israel were no longer a people, they were destroyed and already in exile. And here there were truly only remnants. He gathered the students who remained, and they were 10 people, and he hid with them in a special cave next to Meron or near Meron. Also there was another place near Pekin. Also at some point it was near the Kinneret Sea. But this is how they studied. And Rabbi Shimon, he taught these students, and they all sat together and spoke, meaning they realized what he spoke, meaning he was the head of the 10, and he spoke to them, and they, in the relations between them, derived the good force from the depth of their nature, which exists in everyone, but only it's hidden there. We call this force the point in the heart. It's only a point, and the rest of the heart is a black heart, an egoistic heart. And we can discover, we can reveal this good point and ignite it and point it out and expand it so it'll be like the heart itself. And then we can reach a connection between us called love, meaning love with both your hearts, the good heart and the bad heart. The bad heart you have from childhood, from birth, and the good heart you can attain, and then by both your hearts you can achieve love, because love is something which is built on the good that covers over the bad, as it says that love covers for all crimes. And what does it have to do with the book of Zohar? The book of Zohar explains how to attain these things. If we're sitting in a tent and we study the book of Zohar and we know how to use it in order to connect between us more and more, there are rules to this 10, the so-called minyan. So we reach a connection, and from that connection we reach a request, a deficiency, meaning it's not a request that we're asking for something, a deficiency, a want for that inner positive force that exists in our nature that we want. By it we want to balance the evil force. So it follows that this is called a prayer. This is a true prayer. So we derive that good force against the bad force. So we already have two hearts, meaning with your entire heart, two hearts, the good and the bad inclination. This is its commentary. And then the book of Zohar teaches us all these things, and that's it. It teaches us how can we do it in a 10. And it says that the 10 is actually the entire world, the whole of humanity. It's also 110, even though that it's billions of people. But all in all, when we connect more and more, we reach a system which is this 110 called minyan.